It's a weird kind of lighting effect I have here. I can't seem to get it right. This is kind of neat looking, so I guess I'll have to go with this. Yeah, in my last video, this is a video reply to 2adGnosis, by the way. Yeah, I wasn't saying that we don't need to look into the shadow self, and at the end of the video I actually said that we need to. Just that, from my own experience, you should be careful not to get lost in the shadow itself, to focus on what you can find in the shadow self. And by the way, your comment on the body being like a computer, and the ego basically being a computer, is very good, because of course we're made of DNA, and so we are literally programmed. To discover your true self, you said, you need to explore through your shadow self. And I'm not sure that that's necessarily true, but depending on your perspective, it's like I can lower to a deeper state of consciousness, a deeper state of thinking, without needing to consciously explore through the shadow self. However, as I've said before, when I had previously lost my true self, I did have to look through the shadow self to get it back. And it took me years to really find myself again. And so that could very well be true, that to find the true self you have to go through the shadow self. I can't dispute that. All I can say is that at the very least, when you do have the true self, you can explore deeper into your consciousness without having to knowingly go through the shadow self, meaning that you don't have to explore through the unknown as such. You just sort of let yourself slide, let your consciousness slide down into yourself. So you could say that what you're sliding down through is the shadow self, but that's not necessarily my interpretation from my own experience in that. So that's, when you're talking about the human mind, the consciousness, of course, you're getting into something very mysterious, and different people will look at it differently, but that's an interesting subject, and it might not be something that you're either right or wrong. It might depend on your perspective on that. That really comes into what is the soul, because I'm not sure what you mean when you're talking about the soul. If you think that the soul is the shadow self, or that the two are related somehow, I'm not sure. The soul is not a void, it's energy. My understanding of the soul is, well, you have the spirit, which is the true self, the center of the pure center of your consciousness, and around that is a storm of thought, of raging energy. It's very possibly destructive, certainly to the ego self, and to the consciousness if you go down through that storm. When you dream at night, your dreams can vary a lot, of course, and some of them can be nightmares. Some of them may not be nightmares, but they're very strange, very abstract. The soul is the realm of it's basically the dream world, the unconscious. It's chaotic from the perspective of the ego, where things work in a certain way. The unconscious realm is chaotic. It's abstract. There are no rules that are easily understood. So it's dangerous in that way. The soul is not the shadow self, in my opinion. I can't say that I have any definitive knowledge here. I mean, I can only talk about, of course, from my perspective on this, but from my personal perspective, the soul is not the shadow self, although it's possible that the shadow self may be an emptiness inside of the soul that has yet to be filled with life and energy. That's probably true, actually. But yet the soul itself is energy, and where the shadow, you have like a lot of emptiness, of darkness. That's not really energy, although then again it could be argued that the darkness, that the fog of the unconsciousness itself, the shadow, is actually energy of some kind. But again, pure speculation, but it's a fascinating subject to think about. talked about opening up, that I might open up a little bit to you and you open up a little bit to me. Oh, a little bit is the key. I never feel comfortable opening up too much at one time. I've always felt like I was a paradox. I've only ever known one person in my whole life who truly understands me. A very special lady I met in recent years, and I'm very lucky to have found her. I've never known anyone else, although I have a good friend who I also have a pretty strong connection with, but I'm definitely not used to feeling understood, and it's become my policy. I hate the word policy. I shouldn't say policy. It's a school word. I associate that with institutionalism, like a fascist word. I shouldn't say that. But it's my rule, generally, that I don't hold any expectations to anybody, and I don't expect to be understood. I expect to be looked at as a mystery. And I just hope to connect with people, to talk with people, to share with people, and hopefully to inspire people. And that's it. No expectations. As I've said in my description, I'm a lover of the forest. It's kind of a weird way of putting it. Maybe I should change the wording in that. I love the woods. I just love it. I love going way out, so far out that you can't hear a transport truck going on the highway. And you have to go quite a ways. Like that. And I've been doing that since I was like 7 years old, going out on my own, always going out, or trying to always go somewhere I've never been before. And I have to say I've never been lost, except for one time or something, I don't know what it was, but something started to chase me and I started to run. This is when I was like 14 or something, and I lost my sense of direction for a moment, but then I came to and I realized, I still know home is that way. I have like some people have an internal clock. They know they can just wake up at 5:30 every morning. I'm not like that, but I do have an internal, I don't want to say like I have an internal compass as such. I don't always know north, east, west, and south, but I always know I came this way, and so home is that way. And I never go back the same exact way I came. It's like an imaginary line. I just know. It's like a magnetic, line. I just know the way to home, so I can go way out there and not get lost. I always felt an affinity, a warmth in the woods that I never felt in society. And coming back, man, is it loud. A lot of people don't realize this, but way back in the backwoods, it's so quiet you could hear a pin drop on the leaves. It's that quiet. It's dead quiet. And if you hear a howl or scream, you remember why we call it a howl or a scream, because boy does it stand out. In our society, everything's loud, everything's noisy. I feel the consciousness of the forest. I feel a oneness. I feel life. I feel a stirring of energy. The city is what I call metallic hell. It's also what I call a spiritual wasteland. Is it any wonder I got lost in that city? Well, what can I say? I love the woods. I love spiritual and natural connection. And I aspire to try to awaken something of that in others. I've had many spiritual experiences, far too many to go into in this video, but I'll definitely go into more in the future. So, peace.